Hey there, in this video I'm going to show you guys 3 essential tips that have helped me grow the most. So hopefully these help you out. Alright, let's kick it off here. Good lighting scenarios, you're really going to want the light at a 45, and notice how it creates an edge line across my face all the way up, and then I have a little bit of light on my cheek. This makes it so much easier for you, especially if you're a beginner. This is going to just make the whole process way quicker. This is what's considered Rembrandt lighting. Notice the light at the 45 there, and then just move around. Just see what looks best to you. You do want some harsh shadows though. It's going to make your job capturing likeness so much easier and quicker. A lot of things can make a bad reference. Weird angles, overexposed photos. Flat lighting, avoid flat lighting. So if you have basically no shadows on your face, you're doing something wrong. Stop, don't do that. I disapprove. And have fun with it. Make sure it's a photo you actually want to paint. If you're not painting something you don't want to paint, then again, it's gonna make it harder. All right, so step number 2, use a grid. Use a grid, especially if you're beginning and you're trying to learn. It's gonna make this process so much easier for you, especially if you're not good with drawing to begin with. So you can see what I'm doing here is I crop the photo. Now you're gonna want to put it at a 3:4 ratio. Now I'm going over to an app called Drawing Grid Maker, and what this is gonna do is gonna put 5 grids up and down on your photo, and then in conjunction with, we're about to draw some grids on our canvas here, it's going to make you be able to zoom in a little bit farther, and then you can kind of speed up your drawing process. All right, so grab a tape measure or a ruler, it doesn't matter, whatever you have laying around, as long as it's accurate. And now I have 11 as my width, and 14 is my height. So 11 divided by 5 for our grids, because we want 5 vertical, 5 horizontal. 11 divided by 5 works out to about 2.2, and 14 works out to about 2.8. So you just got to get close on your ruler or tape measure. So don't be too worried if you can't figure out exactly what yours is. From the next mark, make another mark at 2 and approximately 3/8 all the way across. So now I'm going down the vertical for about the 2.8. And for that, I'm basically just going a smidge and a half a roux past 2 3/4. Smidge and a half a roux past 2 3/4 approximately. And then what you're gonna have to do is grab a straight edge and connect your lines from your horizontals to your verticals. Don't be afraid to just erase and completely work this out for a while. If you get this right, this is going to make your painting so much easier in the long run. If you work out the line drawing right up front, then you're not going to have to worry too much about proportions later on. I would recommend zooming in and zoom into each individual square on the grid. So just focus on one little portion. So basically it turns this into a bunch of tinier, smaller pieces that you can kind of work at and one square at a time, and then just, you know, connect your lines accordingly. Yeah. Yeah. All right, step 3 here is going to be using a monochromatic color scheme. So keep it in one color, whatever your favorite color is. Just choose it, pick it, and then work with colors you have there. So I'm just using white, raw umber, which is going to help me make a dark color, ultramarine blue, and then I have cobalt, teal, bluish. It's not necessary, I'm just using it for a background color. So really you only need three paint tubes here. You need white, your dark, and whatever color you're using. In this, I'm not going to use ivory black. I'm going to stay away from ivory black. I think it's a little bit too harsh, so it'll also help you learn how to mix your colors a little bit better. All right, and then you're going to see I'm going to jump right into the shadows first. That's kind of just what I like to do first. And paint it lightly. Don't really glob on the paint in these first initial strokes. That's going to hurt you so much down the road if you have thick brush strokes you're trying to remove and correct. Now you're going to see me basically just work back and forth. I'm going to add a little bit of highlights and a little bit of shadow. A little bit of highlights here and a little bit of shadow there. And we're just going to keep working our way across here. Okay, so here I noticed I kind of goofed on the eye and something was not looking right. So my little fix tool, or basically something to help train your eye if you have no one else to point this out for you, and you're trying to learn on your own, is there's an app that I use called Ultimate Photo Mixer. It doesn't have to be this specific app, but basically what you're looking for is you want to be able to overlay 2 photos. So take a picture of your painted canvas as it is right now, and then make sure you're at a perfectly perpendicular angle to it. You don't want to be leaning too far to the left, too far to the right, or too far up and too far down. You want to be as perfect at a 90-degree from it as you can, because that'll help not distort it and blow the picture out while you put it in the overlay. Alright, so I've brought it into the app, and then I'm going to set 1 as the background, and then 1 is going to be my picture I add on top of it. And here's the tricky part, is lining both of the paintings up. So basically, whatever you got the closest to being right, make sure you adjust your portrait off that. So I kind of have the hair and the collar on the shirt right there. Those match up pretty good. So I kind of set those in place and then use the ridge line of my nose also. And then I can see if I slide this back and forth, I notice the eye kind of shift upwards. So I know that's my problem area. So I need to shift the eye upwards and a little bit to the right. So I'm noticing that just doesn't quite look right. So now you're gonna see me here, I use an opaque color and kind of block out this area. And then I'm gonna slowly start to push that eye upwards. Now, just kind of a back and forth between the darks and the lights. So my blonde hair was actually giving me a little bit of trouble here. I don't normally paint a lot of blonde hair, so I definitely need more practice with that. It's kind of ironic being that it is my hair color. It was kind of difficult choosing what brightness and tonal range I was gonna use for that. So I struggle with this throughout the whole painting here, and I kind of mess with it back and forth with the lighting. Overall, if you have a darker hair color, you're going to be able to set that dark right into the hair, and it's going to look a lot better right away. Now with this, I had to be careful because my skin tones are pretty close to those highlights on the hair, so it does make it a little bit more trickier in a monochromatic painting. But working in a monochromatic color scheme, you're going to really nail down your values. And I think it's way more important than nailing down just throwing in random color here and there. If you can nail your values, you can make any color work. You can get away with some very, very questionable color schemes if you can get your values right. I will say that. All right, so that's it, guys. Overall, I think if I was going to take this further, I'd let this set and then I'd let it dry a little bit farther. And then once everything's completely dry, then I'd start working again over this, because my paint was a little bit wet and I kind of fought that the whole time. That's what you kind of get when you work with oil paintings and you're trying to paint everything within the same time frame of a few hours. So all in all, I think it turned out all right. It's got the point across and kind of just set in some basic ideas. Well, I hope you guys learned something from this. Maybe something to start off with, and then hopefully improve your portraits from here. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave some comments below. I'll get back with you right away. I don't mind helping anyone out if they have any questions, so I will see you in the next one.